All right, folks, Duncan Smith in the sticks. Right there's 126-foot T-post. They've come down just a little bit. They were $6 and change. I think those were like $5.38. You know, when you need something, you need it. So it doesn't really matter what it costs because you've got to put them in. So I get asked a lot of times about fence lines and property lines and surveys. So I wanted to go through right now. This farm we're going to fence off at a property line. So we're going to, I'm going to start at a surveyed corner for the property. And I've strung an electric wire. I brush hogged to get the grass out of the way and some brush, and we've trimmed the trees. So we're going to start at one stake and walk all the way down and kind of give you an idea of, different things. So when I buy a farm, I buy it on the fence line. Missouri has a fence law. It's 7 years. If the fence has been there 7 years, and you want to fight about a fence line, the only thing worse than fighting with a realtor is fighting with a lawyer. There goes somebody pretty important right there. I'm not sure it was, but definitely they were important. So it's my understanding you can sue anybody over a property line. I tell folks, when I buy a piece of ground, I prefer that it's fenced, and I buy it on the property lines. And you can buy a farm and have it surveyed, and if the corners are off, you can go up and knock on the door and say, hey, I'm your new neighbor, and guess what, you owe me some ground. Or you can give them a pie and say, hey, I'm a new neighbor, and here I am. Because the chances are you're not going to be able to move the fence anyway. Knowing where your corners are a great thing, but if it's off on one side, it's probably off on the other. And I just don't, there's better things to fight about in life than property lines. So having said that, when I put a new fence in, it's very important that it's straight, that it's from pin to pin. There's no wobble lines in the fence, And so we're gonna walk down this fence line. No editing. Again, you see it as I see it. So I'm gonna unload these posts, and then we're gonna take a walkabout. Here we go. Ozarks Trail. Like and subscribe. Duncan Smith in the sticks. Yeah, here we go. All right, mission accomplished. We got the post, and I bought these. They supply 5 clips with each post, so you should be able to put a 5-strand fence up and clip it. And these clips, there's nothing magical about them. You clip them on the wire, wrap it around, and then you bend it. Yeah, that was a great demonstration, wasn't it? So, with my boy, we've got one line driven, and my boy drove post every 40 feet. And my plan is to put a post every 13 feet, 12 to 13 feet, and more where there's dips, because we'll have to pull that wire down. So sorry about the wind. This is a surveyed pin. Carmack put that in. It's a dandy. And I've thought about this deal. We brush hogged it. We used Onyx Hunt. Me and the guy that's managing the sale on this side of the fence, we met over here, and it's been a 2 or 3 day ordeal getting this cleaned out to where I'm satisfied that it's as straight as a string. We're not giving any land, and we're not taking any. So I'm just going to walk down through here, and it is straight. You can see that Kubota tractor on up ahead. Let me do that. Oh, there it is. Beautiful Kubota tractor. And it brush hogged out this whole line. So I can see my boy. We're gonna have to pull those posts. I turned it over to Ben. I went and did some real estating, and I'm not blaming him. And maybe they are straight. It's when I came over that tip right there, they didn't look it, but now that I'm a little more on it, I do believe they are. So, but it is straight as a string. It's a little over 1/4 mile. It's 1,420 feet, I believe, is a quarter, and then we ran out of a part of a roll, so it's about a quarter, a quarter and change. It's like 1,600 some feet. So, anywho, we've driven these posts. We're gonna pick this up and I really like that first wire to be right about here. And we've driven all these posts where the spade just went in the ground, and so that fence is going to follow the contour of the ground. I like the fence first. I like that first wire to be right here, and then I like my bottom wire to be kind of right here on my shin. And so it's high, but if a baby calf were to get across, they can still go under. But you know, and I may, these posts don't look like they're 6 foot. That's great. I may go ahead and move that top wire up here. Anyway, I'll keep you posted on how that all goes. But yeah, you can see this deal is straight as a string all the way, and we're going to that next pin. This was locust trees we cut out of the road. We're going to cut that post oak limb out and keep right on the trucking. So we'll have to put maybe a panel here on this little waterway and keep right on a trucking. Anywho, I see it's got a bow in it here. We're gonna have to pull those posts, but we're headed to the next pin. Anyway, back to the fence law. You know, both neighbors, they tell me, and I've never been in a court battle, that both neighbors have to agree to move the fence. So this is what I don't want, and we're gonna not yell at Ben, but you can see how it kind of goes around, and I can see the surveyed pin up past that Davy Brown tractor. Let me zoom in here. I guess I am zoomed in. That Davy Brown tractor, there's a white post, and this whole thing needs to be brought over. We're taking 2 or 3 feet right here, and you can see he did really well through here, but right this next post, for whatever reason, you know, the wire got pulled over. So we're going to pull those posts and move them over, because this line has got to be right. So we don't want any disputes, and I'm sure there won't be, but it's just better if it's straight as a string. Anywho, I'm going to shut this down and keep on walking, and I'll show you the next pin. So go to the videotape. It's really, these posts, if you look at it past that Davy Brown tractor, I can see it, you probably can't. There's like 3 posts for whatever reason right here that have got an alley-oop in it. These posts are actually right back on line. It's just like that those 3 or 4 posts right there are not your friend. Maybe there's about 4 or 5 posts that are gonna have to be pulled. Anywho, so that's makes me a little happier. So this is a big dip in the fence. So we're gonna have to tie a rock on there, and then there's another great big ravine Back over here, we're going to pull it down and tie rock on that. Maybe drive a couple posts in angle wise. But you can tell we tried to brush hog all of this line, and sorry, should have done that. You can tell it's just going to be a lot easier to, I didn't think about that telephone pole. We're going to pull the wires across there. So it's going to be easy to drive down through here and get your wires strung out. So it'd be 5 strands and be 2 posts in between every one of these. And I'm going to pause it and we're headed to the next ravine. Alright, so this wire, this is the deep ravine. Put my glove on. This gaucho will tear you up. So we're going to pull that down, and we'll probably drive a post on each side of it and tie a rock here and put a cattle panel here where cattle can't come back and forth. But that wire is going to need to be a little tighter, but we will pull it down and then put a cattle panel here, and then we're going to run 4 more wires is our plan. So it's going to be a 5-strand fence with posts every 12 to 13 feet, and it's back to, we're going to fence these cattle off of our property. So if a cow were to push on this post, or push on this wire, it's pushing against the post. So the clip would go around in between those two. And, you know, like I said, on the road, you want the nubbins facing your property. In the road, this would be the roadside. And that way, this would be the roadside. This would be facing your pasture, to where all of the cattle, especially down low where they're pushing for grass, they're pushing against the post instead of just that clip holding on to your wire. So I'm going to pause and show you the pin. So we don't have this post braced just yet. I tied off on that one, but this is the pin on the other end. So I'm going to zoom in on this fence. You can, if you've got a great eye, you can see it is straight as a string, but there's about 5 or more posts that we're going to have to pull and take over. But it's going to run all the way to the road straight as a string. So pretty good experience. My boy did a pretty good job. He just, you know, he's young and doesn't have a lot of fencing experience because we just didn't train him up. He was the youngest. Didn't train him up in fence building just yet, but he'll be better than most here after this one gets done. Anyway, Duncan Smith in the sticks. Like and subscribe. Bringing you fence in the Ozarks day by day. Look at that David Brown 885. That is a Rod Smith special. This was bought at Ray Chastain's in Mountain Grove, Missouri. Check out this tachometer. So right here it says Smith's. So for the longest time, I thought that meant that Smith's actually made this tack. But as it turns out, they sold the McGowan family a tractor, and I was on their David Brown one day and it said McGowan's. So they personalized that tack, which I thought was pretty cool. But these tractors, they just create fuel. This one's 42 horse, very durable. My mom used to cuss it because of the gear shifts here. The Case bought out Davy Brown. I think this Davy Brown is an English company. Case IH, which Case turned to Case IH. But they are bulletproof tractors. And my dad fed hay on that. And this little fuel tank, maybe, I don't even know, is it 15, 20 gallons? He'd feed all of his cattle for, you know, a week and a half. And, you know, talk about economical. He had a cab on it at one point in time. You can see where it's kind of rubbed. And we sold that cab and just made it an open station tractor because it was so hot in the summer. great raking tractor. Post driver, Dan Hooser. He had a post driver that I've got a lot of memories of him on that, beating those posts and me sitting in that seat. And he would say, "It's going," and not much. But anywho, that's Duncan Smith in the sticks, fencing, reminiscing. That's the old hay feeding trailer. And looks like we got a S&H jacket here. Way to go, Ben. And fencing trailer. So we put a bar through this, and it notches right here. That Smith bar is going to go there, and we'll unroll probably four wires. We might probably just do two, but we've got some discs that'll fit in here, and we'll unroll those wires at one time and then clip them up, pull them tight, pull them over, pull them tight, and clip them up. So once you get that done, then we'll come back in and drive our post in between there, and we'll have a dandy fence. I've still got to run to get this end taken care of, but it's mainly out in the open here, and it does follow an existing fence line. So we got some more fencing to do, but 16 minutes you won't get back. Tip of the trade, if you go to YouTube and hit that little wheel, you can 2 times the speed. So really it's only 8 minutes 15 seconds and change. But hey, enjoyed doing it, and I appreciate you if you'd like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day. Be blessed. Over and out.